Hey there, friends. I feel like I should have a more energetic intro because anytime I see a reactor, they have crazy intros, but I also find those off-putting. So I don't know how to. Hi, friends. Just make it with bigger eyebrows. So I had the suggestion that I should check out Ren, Children of the Moon, which I've never heard of before. I'm assuming based on the picture, it is an early Ren because he's look like a baby, but it's also hard to tell how old he is because he's got one of those weird faces where he always kind of looks like he's like between 24 and 35, somewhere in there. In this, I mean, it looked like he was in his early 20s, but I have no idea with him. Who's to say? So, as I said, my last reaction to the Chris Webby song, I'm filming it at the same time. It is about now like 2:30 in the morning, so if something weird comes out of me, that's what happens at 2:30 in the morning. I don't know what to tell you. I'm awake for some reason, and so I'm doing this. The thumbnail looked interesting. It looked interesting. A little My Chemical Romance-y, but I'm here for it. So yeah, let's go. I was told it's cinematic, so I'm curious what that looks like. What in the first year of film school is this? I love it. Lesai. Oh my goodness. Oh no, what is this, Ren? I love it. Okay, let's go. Run!
The children that worship the moon. We live in the shadows and we never see the sun. Creatures of this city, and I'm sure you'll see us soon. We dance to the beat of a very different drum.
Oh, I have so many things. When the music did kick in with this whole like almost kind of trying to sound like a theremin, I actually really quite liked that. That was a lot. That was a lot. It's very, this is, I don't know if I'm meant to be scared by it. Probably not. I mostly just find this incredibly precious, to be fully honest. It just seems so like, I took film in high school, and I was always too nervous and anxious to actually make a film. So instead I would write essays about films. I was a big film theory kid, but a lot of my friends did make films, and this so looks like the stuff they made. It's really charming. And like this is the silent film section. Almost made me think of like the silent horror film Vampire. That's not a short film, that's a long film. But then you had like the shadow of Look Like Norman Bates, but then it had an axe, which made my brain go to this. I'm sorry, this is probably just gonna be like a lot of free associating of movie references. Feel free to do with them what you will. The axe made me think of there's this great B horror film like no one ever talks about called Straight Jacket, starring Joan Crawford, which I think is in black and white, but she's there with her big axe, things like that. Now, of course, we have a zombie. I believe that's Ren, little baby. Children of the Moon going over the cross like that. I know it's supposed to be a zombie, obviously. It's interesting they didn't do this in black and white, which would have made you think of Night of the Living Dead. I don't know if they're trying to go for more of a Dawn of the Dead thing, because it's clearly saturated the colors to look, I mean, I've seen it else, it's just that's the colors their camera can capture. It looks like it's purposely saturated to look more 70s or vintagey. The words over the cross make me either think of Carrie, the Burn in Hell Carrie White, or makes me think of the original poster for Evil Dead with the, yeah. Anyway, back to actually watching the song, and I am trying to pay attention to the lyrics. They're children, they worship the moon. They're vampires, or at least they're nocturnal. Which, like, hey, I used to worship the moon. Like, it happens. It's cool. It's all good. Okay.
Sure you'll see us soon. We dance to the beat of a very different drum.
Okay. This is giving me a very specific film reference in my head. I'm debating on it. It's 2 in the morning. Screw it, I'm sharing it. So, the coloring also made me think of this horror film called Antrum that came out a couple years ago. That's purposely made to like it was from the 70s. I quite liked it. A lot of people didn't. I think it's the coloring on him and also his dark hair and then the way that he's walking here by himself. I know I'm meant to think of Romero. Here's what I unfortunately do think of. There is a German zombie film called Auto Up with Dead People. To be clear, I'm not recommending it. I'm just explaining it to you. There's a horror film. It's not horror. It's a zombie film called Auto Up with Dead People. And all I knew about it when I saw it like 15 years ago was I heard like, oh, there's a German zombie film. It's like, it's gay. It's got queer stuff in it. I'm like, oh yeah, sure. I'll watch that. Why not? Went in completely blind. And here's the issue. I was really tired when I watched it. It was kind of slow at the beginning and I fell asleep like, maybe 15 minutes in, which is fine, except that a few days later, my best friend said, oh, how was that movie? And I said, oh, it was fine. It was good. And I didn't tell her that I fell asleep. So she proceeded to watch it and then come to me very confused and a little like, why? Because what I didn't know was between when I fell asleep and when I woke up at the end credits, it was a gay adult zombie film. And I might have known that if I knew the director was Bruce LaBruce, which if you know, for all of the Ren fans that are big queer new wave cinema fans, if you know that movement of film very well, Bruce LaBruce was a semi-big name in that community in the 80s and 90s. He made a lot of very adult, very strange queer films. I've seen 1 or 2 of them. They make me uncomfortable. But he was a notable name in that world at the time. With films like No Skin Off My Ass, which is one of his films. I did not know this, so this is reminding me of Auto Up with Dead People, the zombie gay porn I accidentally made my friend watch. I shouldn't do these this late at night, but that's where my brains are, and I react now, so I'm supposed to share. So there you go. Let's go. But I bet Ren's having a lot of fun here.
I said, oh, can I get that rhythm that sends shivers down your spine? In the sewers of the city, we will wait until the night. When the night's black ink holds the moon in the sky, we will take to these streets where we beast move with pride. It's a children of the moon intervention, with a heads that stand on end when you feel tension. A different.
Okay, so now we've got Exorcist, and then in this, again, it's the thing of just like, crap, we don't have money for a straitjacket. Just wear a long sleeve shirt and tie it. It's fine. I can sell it. I can make it work. And you know what, kid? He is selling it. I'm trying to figure out where this is filmed, because I know they don't have any money. I'm trying to figure out like if they're in front of a brick wall with a door. So it doesn't look like it's covered. Like it doesn't look like they've put like butcher paper up and written on it. It looks like they've just written on walls. But it looks like it's narrower than. Are they in the back of like a truck? Maybe they're in the back of a truck. The straitjacket look with the walls covered in wording, if we're going for movie-wise, makes my brain immediately go to the 90s film In the Mouth of Madness, which is an adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft story, starring Sam Neill, where like there's a part where he's in a mental hospital and like the entire walls and his face, everything are covered in crosses. I wonder if that's supposed to be a reference here. To be clear, the way that I can rattle off all these names and things like that is also why I don't know where my car keys are. This is what my brain can do. It can't do much else, but it can rattle this stuff off. And he's got his little, his eye makeup on. You're a very tough guy, Ren. Sorry, I know I sound patronizing, but I just find this whole thing very precious. Feel tension, a different breed with a scabs, with a scum, with a grit, with a grind. We dance to a very different. You edgy theater fuck. Not that I think he actually did theater. You could be a theater kid without ever doing theater. I'm basically a theater kid without doing theater. I was a band kid. I had way too much internalized shame to ever be on a stage, but that's that right there. Look at that face. That's a theater kid face. Oh, bless you. What even is happening? Oh my gosh. Sorry.
With a grit, with a grind, and we dance to a very different.
Yes, you're very scary. We do live in a society.
Once upon a time that was not long ago, there lived a little boy infected by the evils of this world. In his heart, the madness was growing until he leaked anger into his veins. And when he grew, he didn't grow up, he just grew more and more insane. He felt pain in his brain, flames, blisters, bloodstains, bipolar hurricanes. Tried to remain sane, no, but it's in vain. Burning up in flames, oh, what fun, fun, dance to the drum, drum, drum.
That's interesting. So him mentioning Persian Bela Lugosi voice, talking about there was a little boy and he was crazy, and then mentioning bipolar and pain. I wonder where this is on his health journey, as far as like at this period of time, had he been diagnosed with bipolar, which he did not have. That was hypocycling bipolar. Which, yeah, there was definitely a period of time, I feel like, where a lot of people got bipolar diagnosis that didn't have it. I did. Quite a few people did. Just to go on a mini rant of bipolar frustration. There was this time, I don't know if this was the time that Ryan got diagnosed, because he's, I think he got diagnosed later than I did in life. But where like they had bipolar, and then they came out with a sequel, Bipolar 2, which was not as good as the original. And there was a lot of stuff they just kind of like threw under that, because they didn't quite know, like, oh, that's also bipolar 2, that's also that. So like everyone got diagnosed with that I know a ton of people who were diagnosed and didn't have bipolar, and then got put on medication they didn't need. So they were both getting medication they didn't need, which could have bad effects, and weren't getting medication they did need. Sound familiar? And that's if I can go on a small mental health rant, that's the frustrating part about sometimes dealing with psychiatrists, because when you're with a therapist, if you have a good therapist, they'll listen to your symptoms, but then also listen to your stories about where those symptoms come from, what might be causing them. Whereas a psychiatrist is kind of just often, I've had great psychiatrists, but like a lot of people just look at stuff on a list and be like, this, okay, you've got that. And you're like, well, here's why that might be. Or it's like, oh, you have depression. I'm like, well, I'm depressed because I have panic attacks. And they're just like, yeah, but you have depression. And I'm like, no, I think it's anxiety. They just won't listen to you. So, I would have times when I was very like introverted and kind of had trouble communicating, and would just sort of shut down really badly and kind of thought spiral. And so they're just like, oh, that's you having depression. And then there were other times where I would talk really quickly, and I would get angry really quickly, and I would just like kind of be nonstop moving, and not like my again, thought spiraling, but out loud, so everyone could hear the kind of like, I'd become kind of paranoid and things like that. It's like, oh, that's mania. What it was I have an anxiety disorder and a panic disorder. And I got diagnosed with bipolar 2 with slight psychosis. Here's what that was. I had sleep paralysis. They didn't tell me. I had no idea what sleep paralysis was. I'm like, yeah, so it's weird. Like, I'll be laying in bed, suddenly I can't move, and I'll see stuff. And they're like, oh, you have psychosis. I had sleep paralysis because I wasn't sleeping, and I developed sleep paralysis. So again, it's the thing of just like how easily these things can get misdiagnosed. And then, yeah, I got put on medication I didn't need. Some of them had not great side effects. One kept making me faint all the time, which, like, that's not great. I didn't love that. It hurt my head a few times because I fell at work. It sucked. So all that rambling to just kind of, assuming this is when Ren thought he had bipolar, I just am frustrated with and I know people who actually have bipolar, and that's fine. It's nothing against people with bipolar, but it's just frustrating that, like, when doctors decide everyone's got this one thing, it's really annoying. Rant over. Anyway. That's a face.
Up in flames, oh, what fun, fun, dance to the drum, drum, drum. We are the children that worship the moon. We live in the shadows so we never see the sun. Creatures of this city and I'm sure you'll see us soon. We dance to the beat of a very different drum. We weave through the city like a poisonous thread. We're not quite living but we're not quite dead. We all sing along to a very different tune. We are the children that worship the moon.
My face is me debating on if I should say the movie this is making me think of out loud, and I don't think I will. Look, sometimes I would look at disturbing movies lists, movies that have been banned, or movies that are just like, these are too crazy to watch, and I would be like, give me one. And sometimes I would regret those choices. And some of these shots are reminding me of one or two of those movies or short films that I regretted later. So I'm not going to say them, but know that this is definitely giving me memories, ones I thought I blocked. Thanks for that. No. And Ren is certainly in his feelings cuddling that. Is it like a pig heart? I don't know what that would be. It's bigger than a turkey. Maybe it's a pig heart. Probably. It's too small to be a cow heart. There's something so cute about this. Again, this I guess a weird adjective to use, but it just feels so like Little Rascals. Hey, let's put on a show. It's actually reminded me a lot of, there was this band called Phantom Planet, and they were best known for, they did the intro song for the OC, which I didn't watch, but I know they did the thing for, and they were best known for that, and also having Jason Schwartzman, the actor, as their drummer. That after the fact is known for that. And they had, I think it was their self-titled album that is so good. It's such a great album. And the kind of big single from it was called Big Brat, which is a really fun song. And the music video for Big Brat really reminds me a lot of this video. The first, like, maybe half of it is them recording them and all their friends, like, making costumes and making makeup and doing all these things to set up for this little zombie film. And the second half is their little zombie movie. And it's got this sort of like, I'm not watching this, maybe that's me being too meta as I'm watching it. I'm not sitting there going like, what does this mean and what's happening and why is Ren so weird? Instead I'm just going like, oh, I bet this was fun. I bet this was so fun to make. I bet when he looks back on it when he watches this video, or people who were in it watch the video, it might have been a lot of hard work. I don't know what the behind the scenes were, but I bet it's just like, oh yeah, we did do that. I'm kind of filled with warm fuzzy feelings on behalf of someone else. Like, I bet this is a very fun thing to look back on. And this song is kind of like, I don't know how much I'd listen to this song, but it's kind of catchy. It's got this kind of groove to it that's very fun.
Belong to a very different tune. We are the children that worship the moon. We are the children that worship the moon. We live in the shadows and we never see the sun. Creatures of the city.
Wait a minute, that was cool. No, I mean, that's fun too.
We live.
The shadow. That's cool. It's like a woman hanging. Oh, I love that. Look at you guys getting all cinematic all of a sudden. I love it.
In the shadows and we never see the
so
sun.
Cool.
Creatures of the city and I'm sure you'll see us soon. We dance to the beat of a very different drum.
Again, that's
we're here for
just incredibly precious. I did enjoy that. Like I said, I don't know how much I'm gonna listen to that song. I thought the song was cute. But I think if I had listened to the song, I would have been like, yeah, whatever. I kind of would have forgotten about it, but I'm not going to forget that video. I really quite like that video. So thank you to who recommended it to me, because I did enjoy it quite a bit. That, as I said, had a lot of charm to it. I hope that doesn't sound like me being a dick and being patronizing. That's just genuinely how I feel about it. I'm like, oh, they had fun. Good for them. All right, so there you go. Those are my thoughts on that. Next I'm doing Animal Flow. Someone wanted me to do Animal Flow because I've heard that song, but I've not seen the video. So I'm gonna watch the video. Maybe right now, maybe tomorrow. We'll see how awake I am after I pause this video.